All right, welcome back to another podcast, Plant-Based Besties. I'm Joey Troxel with my co-host, the amazing Debbie Chu. Deb!
Woo, yeah.
So we've got a cool podcast today. Today
Yeah.
we're going to have a special guest. It'll be Maddie from Let's Eat Plants. If you haven't checked her out, she's on YouTube and probably all the other socials. Kind of doing what we're doing, kind of repping the whole thing that we're repping. Right, Deb?
Right, exactly. And I really like that we're bringing people on that are kind of doing the same thing we're doing and just spreading the word even farther.
So if you've never heard from her, check her out. Check out the podcast here. You're really going to enjoy it. Let's get to the show.
Hi, we've got Maddie here. We're so excited from Let's Eat Plants. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Just awesome. We're
Great,
so happy you're here.
Yeah.
And you live in Canada, right?
I do currently, yes, in Toronto,
okay.
Canada, but I'm
Yeah.
originally from California.
Oh, whereabouts?
San Luis Obispo, if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah, that's where I live. I live in
Stop
Pismo
it.
Beach. I live in Pismo Beach.
Stop it. No way.
Yeah.
I grew up there.
I grew up
I grew up
Oh,
born
wow.
and raised 18 years.
And you went to like Slow High and all that?
I did.
Oh, that's so funny.
We'll have to chat later about that.
Yeah,
That is
we
too
will.
funny.
Small world. You probably know some of my family, so that's too
Probably.
funny. Anyway, so I have some questions and I sent them to you ahead of time so you could, prepare. But so I'm just going to read my questions over here. I have them on my other screen because I don't want to forget anything. But really, I want to know what first inspired you to do your plant-based cooking and go online. And did you ever think that it was going to be what it is today?
Great question. You know what? Actually, it was a kind of random career change for me at the time. My husband and I were actually living in Asia. That's where we met. And we started learning about veganism and watching the documentaries. This was the time when all the new ones were coming out, What the Health and
Forks over knives.
Exactly, right? And so we were slowly dabbling into veganism and we moved to Canada where my husband is from, and I had no job planned out here. And so he's like, well, what if you could do anything, what would you want to do? I said, I just want to cook all day and cook vegan recipes, because I was newly vegan. I was like, this is so exciting. There's so many vegan recipes that I want to try and I want to share with people if they're good. So that's actually how my channel started. And I just wanted to share these recipes that I found. And at the time I was also eating pretty healthy. I was doing a lot of oil-free cooking. And I was just I feel like nobody knows about these recipes. Let me share them. And that was really how it started. And it has kind of transitioned into more just saving time with meal prep. And I definitely didn't think it was going to go in that direction. That was actually just something that I had randomly shared in a YouTube video. This is how my husband and I do time-saving tricks and eat a lot of, or prep a lot of veggies, and so that we can eat healthy for the week. And a lot of people really gravitated towards that content. And so I definitely didn't think it was going to end up going in this direction at all. But here we are, and I love it. I just love helping people, and I really love connecting with people in the community. That's probably been one of my favorite parts about this whole journey so far.
Yeah, your food prep videos, I love them. They're really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Deb, Maddie just made me realize something. Did you and I start our channels around the same time? Did we say? I don't remember. I know when I look at Maddie's first video, it was in October of 2018, or that's about when your channel started.
Yeah, and I was October 2016.
Right. So we're all really close, and it never occurred to me, but I wonder if we're all a product of those documentaries we watched, right? Because that's what happened, right? We all started watching them, and we all kind of changed at the same time because they all. And I'm like, how odd that we all became plant-based or vegans at the same time. But now that you're saying that, that makes sense. So those things really change people. They changed the three of us. And then, Maddie and I had videos within probably a few days of each other, because I started my channel. Yeah, my first video was October 2018, just like yours. So I think that's something that I've never put together. So
Interesting. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah. They were very impactful and influential.
Yeah.
And still are to this day. They're great people.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Okay, so your recipes are relatively simple. A lot of people think it's, so complicated, but how do you keep your recipes simple, or is that just kind of natural things that you do?
I would say that is natural. It's probably a product of my environment growing up. My mom cooked pretty simple. A lot of times, like one of her staple meals that as a child I really didn't like, but now it's one of my go-tos is like rice and beans with like veggies on top. And she would call it like a tostada, but with no tortilla. It was like so simple. And as a kid, I was like, oh my gosh, mom, this is terrible. But it's like really shaped my healthy eating to this day because that's a lot of times what my fallback go-to meal is just like all you need is like a simple carb and some protein and some veggies on there. And it really can be that simple. Obviously, sauces and dressings are going to make your food a lot tastier, make it pop, but it really can be that simple. And I think that like with meal prep, especially, like my focus is just like simplifying the process of when you open your fridge, what is there to eat right now? Because I know a lot of people go into the kitchen hungry already and they want a fast and easy, ready to go meal, or at least some components that they can throw together. So really, like, my main thing is what can I do on a Sunday to get a few things prepped for the week? And really that helps to simplify the whole vegan eating or healthy eating in general. Yeah.
I think that for sure that we've all had to figure out, you really have to make it simple for people. The minute you start adding stuff that they don't have in the cabinet and all that, and they can't substitute, it's kind of over for me. I'm like, oh, I'm moving on to the next recipe.
Right.
So I think what you're talking about, basic, simple, back to, simple stuff, is kind of really how it has to be. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Agree. We eat the same breakfast pretty much every Monday through Friday. My poor husband is so bored of this breakfast. I am like on the hunt for a new breakfast for him because honestly, he's been eating it even before we met. So it's been like 20 years for him to eat the same breakfast. And he's like, all right, oatmeal's getting a little bit old. But for me, I still love it. I feel like there's a lot of ways to jazz up oatmeal.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's so easy.
Exactly. You can make a huge batch and reheat it. It's a go-to for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about, adding a protein. Protein's such a hot topic right now. Mm-hmm. What do you do to add protein to your meals? What are some of your go-tos?
So beans is obviously the easiest one. You know what I've just recently discovered is beans in smoothies, which I've done for a long time before, but I've never used a large quantity because I was always scared you're going to taste the beans. But I saw this other video from Epic Mint Leaves. If you've seen his channel before, he was putting like a huge quantity of beans in his smoothie, a huge quantity of chickpeas. And I was like, I have to try this. I was like, for sure you're going to taste the chickpeas, but let me just try it. It was like a whole bunch of chickpeas, bananas, and dates, and like whatever other flavors you want. You can do some other fruit. And I was blown away that it was like no chickpea taste at all. I was like, why haven't I been doing this before? Like, go ahead and add a bunch of beans into your smoothies. My daughter loves that. She's almost 2, and she would have no idea there's beans in it. My husband's really picky about beans too. He doesn't know there's beans in it. So that's a really easy one to do. Tofu on everything also, because tofu is just super easy, and you can blend it into sauces. You can make it into dressings. You can add it into your soups, and it's really hideable, I guess you could say, in that way. Gosh, what are my other ones? I do protein powder as well. I personally just find it simple and easy to add into things. You can easily add it into like baked oatmeal, or you could do protein pancakes with it. So that's kind of a go-to for me as well. I don't really worry about it, to be honest. Protein, I don't count that as a macro like religiously or anything like that, because I've found that over the 8 years that I've been vegan, I haven't really felt like I've had a protein deficiency. I think that's, a common misconception about veganism that hopefully all of us vegan creators are kind of busting the myth on that one. Mm-hmm. But definitely there are some very simple, easy ways to add it in if you are concerned about not getting enough.
Yeah, and it just depends on what your goals are too, because right now Joey and I are trying to build muscle, and we're a lot older than you, so we need more protein because your body just doesn't assimilate it like it used to when you're younger. So you need to add more. So yeah, I always say it just depends on your goals, but yeah, you can definitely get plenty of protein on a plant-based diet.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
When people first go on a plant-based diet, what are some of their common mistakes that you've noticed?
I would say people try and do too much at once and get overwhelmed. I feel like you think like, okay, I have to, especially with veganism, I think the people, when they come into the lifestyle, I will say, because it's more than just a diet, they're like maybe really taken aback with the animal side of it, and they're like, okay, I want to stop everything at once, which is great, but it has to be sustainable, right? And even just like taking on new healthy eating habits in general, right? It has to be sustainable. So I always recommend to do small steps and switch out 1 or 2 meals at a time, and kind of learn about the new ingredients before taking on a whole bunch of new recipes that you've never tried all of these new ingredients before, and you're like, I've never even heard of nutritional yeast or agar powder, or what are all of these? And then you're like, I don't even want to try anymore because it's too weird, right? That can be overwhelming and just make people a little bit too afraid to kind of jump in. So I always recommend just to take it slow and switch out maybe 1 meal at a time, like breakfast. I usually find is the easiest for people, maybe because I always recommend oatmeal. But there's so many vegan options: tofu scramble, you can do pancakes, you can do waffles. There's so many vegan breakfast ideas out there. Chia pudding is a really simple, easy one. So I usually say to start with breakfast, but you could also do like a simple pasta with red sauce and just switch out your usual meat sauce for lentils or for adding extra veggies in there. And I think that, just taking it 1 meal at a time is always a really good way to do it. Your food isn't going to taste exactly the same as what it used to. So I also recommend people to just kind of change their mindset and give your taste buds some time to kind of adjust. And I think that people expect things to be like, oh, I made this vegan cheesecake. I have cheesecake on the brain because I just did a cheesecake video. So I made this vegan cheesecake, but it doesn't taste exactly the same. And of course, it's not going to taste exactly the same, but you have to look at, your taste buds are going to change over time. Just kind of stick with it and don't give up.
That cheesecake video came out like 10 minutes ago. As we were waiting for it to come on, I just saw it come up. And I was like, I'm going to watch this now. No, I don't have time right now. So
it's really good. If you ever thought you couldn't get fiber with your dessert, go check out that video, because I tried 2 cheesecakes with hidden chickpeas. And one of them was amazing. One of them was pretty good.
When you were saying earlier about putting the chickpeas in the blender and then the dates and the banana, you could throw in some chocolate chips and get like a chocolate chip flavored smoothie, because I think some of those ingredients are when they make that chickpea cookie dough batter, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So I would guess that probably does taste really good, right?
It does taste really good. I think, like open your mind to maybe new possibilities, especially when you're transitioning, and just kind of try out some recipes. Maybe not everyone is going to be a hit, but don't give up on the lifestyle just because 1 or 2 recipes are flops.
Right. Like I have a plant-based cheese sauce, and I've given it to some coworkers. I always tell them, it's not going to taste like dairy cheese. Just think of it as a good sauce, not a cheese sauce, because they were like, this doesn't taste like cheese. Well, it's not going to, but it's good. It's still good.
Exactly.
What were you going to say, Joey?
Yeah, I think Maddie's right about the when your taste buds change, right? Because I'm not saying you should drink diet soda, but if you drink soda like Coke or Pepsi, and then you go to Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke for a while, and I had to do that when I was younger. Now I just don't drink it. But then somehow you get Coke or Pepsi again, and you're like, this is loaded with sugar. Like, holy smoke! And you notice, and your taste buds aren't the same anymore, right? Yeah. And I think that when I became a vegetarian, in 2006, I wasn't planning on it, but I read a PETA pamphlet, and I went and I was sitting in the bathroom, and I came out of the bathroom, and I was like, I'm a vegetarian now, and my husband was like, what are you going to eat? You don't even eat anything green. Like, this doesn't even make any sense. I'm like, I don't know, but I'm not contributing to this. And it was, I just jumped in. I never went back, and I eventually became a vegan. But he was right. Like, I'm just going to eat the pizza, and, I'm going to have, I don't know, whatever. But eventually I started liking vegetables. Like, that was my option. So I was like, okay, I don't love vegetables, but like you, I'm going to have to start learning to cook so I can make something I like. And then now I can't imagine not having vegetables every day. So you mature in your taste. And I don't know if it's a product of changing your diet or just as you get older, you're open to more things, right?
Very true. Very well said. Like when I first went vegan, I couldn't imagine life without cheese. Like, actually, that was the hardest thing to give up. It was like, I probably went vegan at the start of 2017, but like that giving up cheese process took like a year. And so I don't consider myself fully vegan until after that. But it was just like, now I'm like, I think about cheese occasionally, but I don't crave it. Like all of the vegan cheeses now satisfy my taste buds.
Oh,
So
they're
like
so
you said, is
good.
it my taste buds have changed or I've gotten older or who knows? But they all work for me now.
So one thing I wanted to know, if we were to look in your refrigerator right now, what would be in there?
Oh
What's your
goodness.
go-to?
My go-tos. For sure, soy milk and maple syrup because I use those every morning in my coffee. And I just feel like those are my go-to milks. I always use soy milk. I'm just not a fan of the other ones. That's my go-to. And maple syrup, I just wish it was less expensive because I could use that on everything for every sweetener. Like forget sugar, forget all the other, whatever, brown sugar, white sugar, doesn't matter. I always prefer maple syrup. That is my go-to. Beans, although usually I keep those in the freezer. I've been doing like little portions, single serve portions. Like I just cook a huge batch in my Instant Pot and do single serve portions in my freezer so that they're easy to pop out because they go bad, faster in the fridge, maybe after like a week. So just keep them in the freezer. I always have, what else? Veggies. Like Joey talking about the veggies. I can't imagine a day without vegetables. Like there's always some kind of chopped veggie ready to eat quickly in the fridge. Oh gosh, what else? Better than bouillon broth paste. Like shout out to them for making the best veggie broth there is, because all you need is a little scoop mixed with water. It makes instant soup broth. Like forget those cartons.
So good.
That's my go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deb, I don't ever want you guys to come over to my house, look at my fridge. I'm just because it's just not clean. So other than that, everything in there was vegan, but I'd be like, oh, there's a spill from when something spilled and I didn't clean up. It's three guys, and it's just
I would never show mine because my husband's not vegan or plant-based. So there's, I call them unauthorized food in there, but whatever. I'm still working on them.
I'm not so worried about that. Whenever you see me do a video, like my kitchen's spotless, and my students are like, does it always look like that? I'm like, no, it's trashed all week long. And then Saturday morning, I wake up at 6 a.m. and I start cleaning, right? Yeah. Otherwise, I can't film. So
I think that's common for a lot of YouTubers. I wouldn't say that. Yeah, don't worry about that. That's most of us, I think.
Yeah. So are you raising you have a daughter, right?
I do.
Are you raising her vegan?
We are, yeah. Luckily, my husband and I transitioned at the same time. So we're like in alignment with that. And we want to raise her vegan. And we've had plenty of comments about like, oh, aren't you conditioning her? And I'm like, well, every parent actually teaches their child how to eat, right? Who's to say that the ones feeding them meat aren't conditioning, right?
Right.
So yeah.
And you found a pediatrician that's on board.
Yeah, definitely. He's like, he's not super well versed in nutrition, but he knows that. And he's like, I can always recommend, I can recommend what food you need, calcium, protein, iron, those things. And I can help you look up the sources if needed. He's like, but you probably know more than I do about where to get those sources, being that you've been vegan for so long. So he's like, I can defer to you on that, but I'll always just tell you what are the recommendations for her age and like the quantities and
you're checking her growth and it's normal. Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How lucky for her to grow up vegan.
Yeah. Deb, I having this conversation, it seems even bizarre that we have to address this like this, but yeah, the minute you say your kid's vegan, oh, it's child abuse and blah, blah, blah. And have there been any records of vegan or vegetarian growing up kids being deficient in anything? Like, I don't know that I've ever even heard that before, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Your kid had too much vegetables, so now he's not growing, right?
Right.
I know, that is crazy. Yeah.
So something else that's happening this week, and Maddie, I thought of you, with spring break. So I'm off because I'm a teacher and my son's off, and he's going to get his wisdom teeth out.
Oh, gosh.
That was the first video I saw of you. Deb, I don't know if you know this, but one of her biggest videos is the story of how, I guess you didn't have them all taken out because they said, no, these two are never going to bother. So you left some of them in. And then years later, you start having problems with it and went to the hospital for 5 days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
That's
that
a crazy
video.
story. Like, it's wild.
It is wild. It's even more wild to have lived it. It's like some days I'm just like, oh, I can't believe that happened. You know what? And like the whole recovery process was a very long process as well. I still don't know if I feel 100% back to normal. I don't know if that's also getting older. Like it's just, old age, your eyesight is not as good as it used to be. And you guys think that you're much older. I don't know if it's that much older than me. I'm in my 40s. So I don't know how the recovery process would be if I was a lot younger, but I do feel 100% that being vegan has helped my recovery in terms of just overall health. Because, I've talked to doctors and they're like, wow, you actually seem to have recovered amazingly. Like, you're doing so great. Like, no one would even know that this huge episode has happened. Like, I had brain surgery, right? I had a right side craniotomy, and it was a huge procedure, and the doctors have all been just like, this is an amazing recovery. It's so wonderful to see you doing so well.
Yeah, it's a testament too.
I think the video is wild, Deb, because
I watched it.
Did you? Oh, the only other part when she's like, the doc comes in and she's expecting just to go home, right? Oh, okay, we're just going to tidy this up, and the doctor's like, no, right? And then 5 days later, right, you're still there. So. But I had a adenoma behind my eye by my brain. I had to have that removed 4 or 5 years ago. And as vegans, like we feel like we're bulletproof, right? Like we have this diet, and then something happens. We're like, oh man, son of a, like how did that happen? And we're so mad. But I was in the hospital just overnight. They expected it to be a few days, and same thing. Like the next morning, I'm like, where's my luggage? I'm out of here. Right? And they were like, holy smoke. And they just, they called my husband, told him to come get me. But he was like, that's it? I'm like, that's it. So, and they said, like, you're going to recover really fast from this before I even had the surgery. But I think I attribute the same thing. Our plant-based diet, right, really helps us heal much faster. But it also makes us more mad and annoyed when something does happen, right? And it's like, that can't happen. Nothing like this can happen. Right? Like it just
Actually, once I turned 40, the doctor was like, well, you have a history of colon cancer in your family. You're going to start needing to get colonoscopies. And I was like, but I'm vegan. He said it doesn't matter. It's genetic. You actually need to start getting checked. So I just went for my first one. Sorry if this is TMI, but I just went for my first one and, had amazing results. Amazing. Nothing wrong or anything like that. And I was telling all the doctors who were doing my procedure and the nurses, I'm like, I'm vegan, so I'm sure it's going to be clean and healthy. And they were like, okay, it turned out to be true.
But you don't know because, like for me, I haven't been vegan my whole life.
Right, exactly.
So I have a lot of years of damage. And like that, my first colonoscopy was like perfect, So,
it is important to get checked. Like actually just the whole health episode, really kind of opened my eyes to like, we're not, invincible, and we actually do need to take care of ourselves and make sure we're seeing a doctor. And, if there are issues, we should address them. And
exactly.
I think, I'll be 62 this year. And Deb's are just a little bit older than me, right?
I'm going to be 70 this year.
70 this year. And
that's amazing for your ages. Oh my goodness. I thought you were in your 50s.
No,
like early 50s.
Thank you. But it's interesting that we're all of the age where we can talk about our colonoscopies now. So
and I just got a new doctor, and I was telling her about something that happened when I was I got my first colonoscopy when I was 52, and then my second one when I was 64, and she's like, 64? And then she goes, you don't look like you're, and I'm like, I'm going to be 70 this year. And she's like, what's your secret? So I'm like, well, I'm a vegan and I exercise and da-da-da-da-da. And she's like, wow, like she was really interested, which I thought was good, but
that's great.
Yeah.
We're like walking billboards for the lifestyle, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So my last question was going to ask you, what would you tell people if they wanted to start this journey? And you kind of hinted about, or you mentioned just starting simple, like maybe replacing breakfast. So do you have any other advice for people that would be wanting to start a plant-based diet?
Definitely reach out if you need help. Like I love talking to people on YouTube or in the DMs on Instagram. Like I feel like, there's so many vegan and plant-based creators out there who actually love helping people. Like that's kind of our passion and why we do what we do. Like I would love it if somebody reached out and they were like, hey, I'm really struggling with this thing. Can you help recommend a couple alternatives to this ingredient or something like that? Like there's a really huge welcoming community of us. And I feel like, that can really help people stay on track and really stick with this diet or lifestyle change.
Well, who are some of your favorites that you like to follow?
Oh gosh, I love Plant-You, Carly.
Yeah. A few.
Yes, of course. Danielle of Healthy Girl Kitchen. I watch her videos as well. Gosh, both of your channels, I have to say. There are so many. Sauce Stash, I really love his videos too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should just start like a little community. Jeremy, if you don't know Plant-Based with Jeremy,
He's up there with you. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome too. Like he also lives in Toronto, so we have that connection. I've chatted with him a few times, and just like I find everybody so welcoming, you know, as a person, and so helpful in this community. It's been really great to meet new people this way.
All right, so Maddie, if someone wanted to learn more about you, where could they follow you?
I'm Let's Eat Plants on YouTube and Instagram, and like I said, you can always reach out to me on the DMs on Instagram because I always check them, and I love chatting with people, and Facebook as well.
All right, well, you guys, if you're interested in helping the show out, we could really use a good review on Apple or Spotify. So leave us a 5-star review there because what's not to love, right? And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you're watching YouTube, or just send us a DM on one of the socials. And that's our show for today. We hope you enjoyed our guest.
Yeah, thank you again, Maddie. Yeah, it was great having you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We love doing this. We love sharing the platform with other people. And it's just interesting to really just realize how many more people are doing this, that we're all doing this together, right? Like I always tell the people following this, I'm like, you're not alone. We're all doing this together, all of us. So I mean, there's definitely power in having positive sports. So leave a comment below. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you all next time.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.